Welcome to the Lights Lounge, your weekly home for all things Las Vegas Lights FC. We'll be here every single week in 2025. As usual, you can join us here for a deeper dive into everything that happens on the pitch, including match previews and analysis alongside a new guest every single weekend. The Lights are coming off an insane week that started with the club and head coach Antonio Notarino parting ways and ended with a crucial 2-0 home victory over Monterey Bay to give interim head coach Giovanni Choice his first win in charge. In the middle of all of that, the team also signed and announced a new forward, Stefan Stojanovic, who made his debut late in the game on Saturday. So alongside me today to chat about all of that, I have the team's newest goal scorer, Stefan Stojanovic. Steph, welcome to the lounge.
Thank you guys so much.
Before we jump into the match on Saturday, I want to back it up a little bit to talk about why you're even sitting in the chair across from me today. It's been a whirlwind of a week and a half to 2 weeks for you. So you spent 2024 with FC Tulsa, started the 2025 season with them, and then end up with Las Vegas. When did you first find out about the move to Las Vegas being done?
Yeah, first of all, thank you guys. I'm excited to be here. It was a bit of a whirlwind like you mentioned. I found out, I think it was like the first week of June. It was a Thursday, so maybe 2 weeks from this Thursday. I just got a call from the sporting director and head coach. And at first I thought, maybe it was, okay, I'm not going on the trip this weekend. We're supposed to go to Sacramento. I was actually in a meeting, so I ended the meeting quickly and hopped on the call. And all of a sudden they just said, hey, you're being traded. And look, that's football. It happens. And it came as a shock, obviously. I didn't really expect that. My girlfriend was visiting, so it was a bit difficult for, figuring out what she's going to do. But yeah, 2 days and I packed my stuff up, came to Vegas. And I got to say, it was really interesting. My first day, we found out coach was fired.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been settling in well. The guys have been great. Coach Gio's been great. And it's been really exciting now to get my debut as well. And obviously winning 2-0 over the weekend was awesome. So
yeah, I was talking to you before, and you said that you drove all the way here, because you would have had your car in Tulsa, and you said your dad flew in and drove you like 18 hours to Vegas.
So we just split it. It was kind of nice. It was a little road trip. We never been, he has never been in that like area of the U.S., so we took my car and packed all my stuff and just drove. We didn't stop anywhere, just a couple meals and
straight through the night.
Yeah. So
dang.
And then
good. It got here on Sunday.
Yeah, it was Sunday midnight, like this Sunday morning.
Oof.
So, but we have family here, so they've been a great help. We stayed at their house. So it's been really nice. It's been,
not bad. Hey, at least you didn't get traded from East Coast to West Coast, because that drive wouldn't have been quite as good. So you came here and you did some content capture with us on Monday on the backdrop and stuff. So you got the first look at the locker room, and then you were in on Tuesday. A bit of a whirlwind. You walk into your first team meeting and find out that the head coach you thought you were going to be playing for is no longer with the club, which is insane. But I want to talk a little bit about Gio, because you're in a unique position that you didn't work with Antonio previously. So I guess your perception of Gio as a head coach is pretty clean. You don't have like that comparison to do. So in that first training session on Tuesday and then Wednesday, what was your first impression of Gio as a head coach?
Look, Gio's really young. I think he's one of the younger head coaches in the USL, but he's great. You could see everybody loves him. Everybody's motivated to play for him, but more so play for the city of Las Vegas, because we know how good we are, and I've seen it this week. It took me a week, and you see how much quality there is here. A lot of great individual players, but when you combine them, I think the team is also, it's really, really special. But yeah, Gio's been a great help. He's always smiling. He has, obviously I spoke with him a little. His background is more in, he did a lot of analysis stuff. So we're all really happy for him. I'm happy for him. I've only known him for a week, and I'm super motivated to play for him and win many more games for the city, for the fans, and for us. So.
Yeah, that seems to be, from my perspective, the kind of prevailing attitude within the group was that once the decision was made earlier this week, everyone was really motivated to get a win kind of for Gio and help him continue to have his first chance at leading a group. And it's pretty cool to have a front row seat too, I think.
Absolutely, 100%.
For you personally, do you feel like you got up to speed tactically super quickly? I guess it helps that Gio was sort of introducing his own ideas, so you kind of came in fresh as well. But how did that process go for you?
Yeah, it is new for me. I think the style here is very different from Tulsa. It's more ball playing, keep the ball, and obviously we want to attack, we want to go forward, whereas Tulsa was more so, all right, we're going to press always, we're going to always go forward. But yeah, I met with Gio. He explained kind of tactically what we're going to do for the weekend. So that was a big help for me, kind of transitioning. But obviously it's still going to take a little bit to get used to the guys, to get used to tendencies and that sort of thing. But yeah, I think 1 week in, it's been a really good week, and obviously we had training today, so that was good. And we're just looking forward to the game in Indy this weekend.
You kind of join a talented group of number 9s on the roster now. So you, Johnny Rodriguez, Knight Pickering is a younger talent. What's been your first impression of that group of 3 of you and those 2 players?
Like I said, 1 week in, and you can tell both are extremely talented. Both are scoring goals in training. Obviously, Johnny had two over the weekend. You can see, like, for me, I always want to try and learn even from the younger guys, and I think Knight has qualities that I don't have. So just picking up on little things in training that I can see from those guys, and in the games as well. You could see how Johnny was hungry this weekend, and he got rewarded. So I think it's good to have the competition as well in the group. But yeah, they're great guys as well as great players. So I'm excited to play with them, learn with them. You know.
Yeah, can I push you on that a little bit? I'm curious, you said like Knight has some qualities that you don't have. As Vegas fans sort of get to know your play style, how would you characterize yourself as a 9, and then maybe what are some of those things that you're seeing Johnny and Knight doing that you're wanting to add to your game?
Yeah, good question. I mean, for me, I think I'm more of a box finisher. I do like to combine and stuff, but I'm more like, I want to score. That's my game. I look at a lot of the top level strikers. Sometimes they only have a few touches in a game, but they're scoring twice. Like that's kind of what I strive to do. Obviously I want to be good in other areas, but I want to score goals. I want to be in the box. I want to be a nuisance. And I think there's a lot of other things I can improve. I think Johnny's really good at using his body. He kind of creates contact. There's also his off the ball movement as well. Him and Knight are very, very good at that. Knight has a great strike on him. I've seen that his left foot is very good. So yeah, and me and Knight, we were on the same team a little bit in training, so it was good to combine with him as well. And just building these relationships, I think that's going to be the most important thing, not just with these other strikers, but with the whole team in general.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Let's talk about the game on Saturday a little bit. 2-0 win over Monterey Bay. They were on a 3-game winning streak. So big one for the squad because, you weren't here, but the squad was on a 6-game winless streak and needed that momentum to stay in touch with the playoff spots and start to gain some momentum over the summer. You subbed in later in the game from the bench. What was your impression of the team's performance and what went right for the team?
I mean, I do think we started off a bit slow. I think Monterey had a few chances. Raiko made some great saves. Kept us in the game, and then towards the end of the first half and then all the second half, I think we really dominated. I was just itching to get in. I also haven't played in a few weeks, just obviously injuries and stuff, but just finally stepping on the field and being with the boys and experiencing that win was great. But yeah, I was really happy with the performance. Honestly, just me personally, I think the whole group was really happy. But just watching for the most part from the sideline. Yeah, I thought it was really good football, fun football, exciting, going forward, looking to score. I think we could have had a few more goals as well. But yeah, it was just all around a really great.
I think that'll be refreshing for fans to see as well. I mean, I was talking with Gio a bit earlier before this, and just talking about how much the team was still pressing for that third goal. It wasn't like, okay, we've subbed Steph in, we're going to move the wing backs back, and we're going to sit in here and protect this 2-0 lead. You guys were really going after it, and obviously protected the game and protected the ball in the corner a few times as needed, but still kind of being hyper aggressive and looking for that next goal.
Absolutely. No, I love that as well. Like, I don't want to be a team that gets complacent and now, okay, we're up 2-0 with 10 minutes, and now we're just going to, let the other team attack and try and sit in the block. I don't want to be that.
Now it's 2-1 and now you're under pressure. And
exactly. I'd rather, like I said, I want to score goals. I want us to score goals, as many as we can, 5, 6 if we can. But yeah, I love seeing that from the guys. And Gio was the force of, the main force with that, telling us to keep going. I was coming in, he said, go ahead, get yourself a goal. I personally, I love that. So
looking ahead to the Indy 11 match, going across a couple time zones to the East Coast. For you, what are you looking at individually? Because I know the team tactics haven't quite come in. It's a little too early in the week in the training for that. But for you individually, looking at your performance against Monterey and then thinking about some more minutes against Indy, what's your next step to continue getting comfortable with this team? Yeah,
I mean, I don't know what the weekend's going to hold. I think right now the preparation this week is the most important thing for me. And however many minutes I get, I think I have to take it. If it's 5 minutes, if it's 15 minutes, show what I can do. If I can score, that's my main goal. Always try and score. That's my biggest goal. So yeah, like I said, no matter if it's 5 minutes, 15 minutes, 45 minutes, I think go in, show what I can do, that I can be one of the best players out there, and win. Obviously, that's the main thing.
Yeah, you've played in just talking, I think, generally now, you've played in a lot of stops, and we'll dive into that here in a little bit. So you've played on a lot of different fields and a lot of different stadiums. Mm-hmm. Going away to Indy, you're going away to an artificial turf field. Yeah. You're traveling across multiple time zones, long travel day on Friday before a game on Saturday. That's a totally different prospect, to winning at home on your home field on grass at Cashman. Mm-hmm. How does that change like a player's mentality as you head into a game like that? Does it?
I mean, for me personally, nothing changes. It's still, we want to play our style. Whatever we talk about this week, how we want to play, that's what we want to enforce in the game. I mean, for me personally, like I said, I don't think it should change anything. Obviously, it's turf. Most guys don't enjoy playing on turf, but we have to embrace it. Like, that's the nature of this league. There's a lot of teams that have turf fields, some better than others. I don't know. I've never played at Indy's field. We'll see how it is. But regardless, the mentality is win, score as many as we can, and come back with 3 points to Vegas.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. You can't make excuses. No. I mean, it's not like the grass fields around the league are like absolutely. We're not playing at the Bernabeu here. It's not flawless no matter where you go. So you can't really make excuses either way. Yes. Okay. Well, let's take a step back from the team and from your prospects of getting into the team, and let's take it all the way back and let's just dive into your journey. Mm-hmm. So from Chicago, Illinois, correct?
Yeah, I was born there.
Properly from Chicago or from like the Chicago suburbs?
Suburbs, yeah, okay. Definitely the suburbs. Close to the airport, O'Hare. Okay. So that's where we've lived. Okay,
what was your childhood like growing up? Siblings? What was like? But like outside of soccer?
Yeah, outside of soccer, I do have a younger brother, Daniel. My parents came from ex-Yugoslavia, so we're Serbian. So they moved to Chicago in 1998. The church, first apartment, kind of in the city area, and then obviously they started working. And my dad's parents came with us as well. I wasn't born yet; came with them. Sorry, I was born in 2001. I think 2002, 2003, we moved to the suburbs, and we've been there ever since. Same house. But yeah, I mean, I just remember from a very early age playing football in the backyard with my dad and my grandpa. It's a big part of our culture, tennis, soccer, basketball, sports in general. Yeah. Like Serbians are very proud of athletes. And so those were my early days. And then,
Do you have a Serbian athlete that was like a childhood hero?
Yeah, I mean, I still do. Djokovic, he's the tennis player. I think this might cause some controversy. I do think he's the greatest athlete of all time.
Oh, wow. All time across all time.
Just any sport. I think what this guy's done is incredible. His mentality, just everything, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. I think he's the top of the top. There's a lot I think athletes can learn from him. He's 38 years old and he's still competing against these young guys, Sinner, Alcaraz. He's still putting up fights against them, and 24 Grand Slams is absurd. So he's one guy I definitely look up to. I watch a lot of interviews with him. I watch almost all games he plays in. So he's definitely one of the...
Did you play tennis as well growing up?
I did. That was my first sport. I did play tennis. There was some issues with coaching and stuff, and then as a kid, you always want it nice. You always want them to be nice to you, but so some issues with coaches, and then I stopped playing tennis and fully embraced soccer.
Okay. I feel like a big thing, this is random, but I feel like a big thing in like training centers and training facilities across soccer is there's always table tennis, a ping pong table. Tennis, yeah. Does your tennis ability translate to the table tennis?
That's a good question. I like to think I'm pretty good, and then I come up against somebody better, and I get smoked. I feel
like there's like a strange correlation between soccer players and being really good at ping pong.
They love, I don't know what it is either. A lot of guys love ping pong, and they're so good too. I like to think I'm decent, but
you would wipe the floor with them, get them on a proper tennis court.
Yeah, get me on a proper tennis court, and everybody's cooked for sure.
Yeah, amazing. For sure. Were you growing up speaking Serbian in the house and learning English through school?
Yeah, so Serbian was what I learned first through the church as well. We had a lot of Serbian churches in the Chicago area. They call it mini Serbia. I think there's in the world. Belgrade's number 1 with Serbians, like population-wise. Chicago's number 2.
Wow.
So there's a lot of churches there. I would go to Sunday school, and my parents would we'd speak Serbian. So I do speak Serbian with them. I speak Serbian still as my first language. And then, yes, I learned English through school and stuff.
Yeah.
So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Talking about Serbian culture and stuff as well, have you found anything here in Vegas? I know you mentioned when I was walking around on your first day, I found a couple Serbian restaurants. Me and my dad have looked around, and you have family here as well.
Yeah, there's actually a lot of Serbs in Vegas. A lot of them work like hospitality things. Like my cousin, she works in the hotel at the Westgate. So there's a church here. I don't know exactly what the city's called, but it's in South Vegas.
Okay.
And
like
there's
Henderson area? Probably.
Maybe. Something like Paradise, maybe.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that's South.
Yeah, Paradise is right. Yeah.
But yeah, lots of like Eastern European restaurants as well. Lots of markets, which is nice because Tulsa was the opposite. There was no Serbian restaurants. There was a Serbian community there, but nothing like here, nothing like Chicago. So this has been really nice. So far.
Oklahoma, not exactly a Serbian hotbed.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Okay, let's talk about soccer a little bit. I mean, I can find on my research that you were with Sockers as an older kid, but is that where you started, or did you start at like smaller grassroots clubs and then build up to there?
Yeah, I mean, started like Park District, then AYSO kind of vibe, and then from age 8 or 9, I was playing with Sockers, so played there for 10, 11 years.
Wow.
And
you were there all the way through, right?
Yeah, never joined an MLS team. I really loved the environment there at Sockers, and I do think we were one of the best academies. It used to be the development academy stuff. I don't know. I think it's MLS Next now.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were one of the top academies there. Once you hit U14, you were in the academy age groups, whatever. And we always competed against the top MLS teams. We would play in these showcases in the playoffs and stuff, and we'd always compete. And I never, saw a reason to go to an MLS club. I think I was getting good looks playing at Sockers. I was doing well. I was getting offers from colleges once I got older. And we had great group of guys, great coaches as well. So yeah, my time there was really, really, really awesome.
Sockers is definitely one of the biggest like non-MLS USL academies in the country. It's, at least for me, having grown up playing here, it's got a lot of name recognition. They're always in like those DA playoffs and all of that kind of stuff. So that's interesting. You scored 62 goals across 5 years of academy. I don't know, according to the St. Louis soccer website. So seems pretty decent. I don't know if you knew that stat or not.
No, I didn't know that. I do know the goals would come. Almost every game, which was great, and that's a credit to the guys I was playing with. Like some of these guys aren't even playing anymore; they have regular jobs. But I don't know, something about that group, just everybody gelled well. We all still talk and hang out to this day, and some of these guys I'm sure will come to my wedding once I get married, and vice versa. One of them actually, I'm supposed to be one of his groomsmen in October, so we have to figure out what's going to happen then with the season and stuff. But that just goes to show like how tight that group was and
crazy.
How tight we still are. So
do you have a standout memory from your time with Sockers?
Oh man, I don't know. we went to Europe a few times, which was awesome. Just those memories. I don't know. Every day was unique. Every day there was something.
So no high school soccer or anything for you, right? Because at the time, DA, you couldn't play high school because you were playing year round. So.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, got you. At the time too, some U18 U.S. Youth National Team stuff. Walk me through how that happened and what that experience was like.
I think even earlier, my first one was a U14 national team call up. That one I got hurt at, which was kind of devastating for me as a young boy, and it was like the first day, and I got sent home. Obviously,
that's brutal. Especially as a 14-year-old. It's like the most important day of your life at that point.
Absolutely. And that, like you said, that was just as a young kid, you don't know how to deal with that. But and like I said, the coaches at Sockers were amazing, and I think that they also helped me. They had connections, and not to say that was the sole reason why I got called. Like obviously I was doing well. There was always scouts at games, and my first real camp was U16. I remember Coach Sean Sakiris was his name, great coach. I think that was one of my first camps in California, and then I went to a few international ones, and then went to U18 camp. and then U20 as well when I was in school.
Yeah.
So those experiences are great. I'm very grateful I got to experience that, like play with these great players. Some are playing in Europe now, some are playing with the full national team, which is great to see.
Which players are with the full national team now that you would have played with?
That's a good question. Patrick Schulte.
Okay.
He's one of the goalies. He was hurt now, I think. Who else was? Obviously, Gio Reyna was at a few camps with me. Just some guys that come to mind.
I'm trying to think who the other 2001s would be in the group.
A couple 02s, 03s would come up with the 01s as well. But yeah, you have a lot like playing in Europe still. But yeah, MLS especially too. So yeah, and just being able to experience like going to different countries, that's, as a young kid, again, that's a lot of things, something like a lot of kids don't experience at that age, which I'm very grateful for, experiencing these new cultures. And at the same time, you get to play football against some of the top teams in the world. So
yeah. Speaking of traveling, growing up, were you and the family going back to visit Serbia at all? Yeah.
We would visit Serbia. So it's very interesting. Like obviously, it was all Yugoslavia, and where my dad was born it's Bosnia. So he was born in Zenica, and my mom was born north in a city called Banja Luka. So it's in Bosnia, ethnically Serbian. But yes, we still have family in like Belgrade and small villages in Bosnia as well, where my mom grew up especially. So yes, we do as often as we can. Obviously, it's difficult with soccer. In the summer, you want to go, but in the winter, it's very cold. So I'd prefer to go somewhere warm. And
interesting. Yeah. So representing some youth national teams may be the sticky question, but if you got the chance to represent Serbia, is that something that like kind of rattles around your head a little bit?
That's a good
Obviously,
question.
as a kid growing up, like in youth national teams, like the U.S. is there and it's a great opportunity and you have to take those. But like if you had both, would that be a really difficult decision?
It would be a very difficult decision, I think. Yeah. Like I'm very proud to be Serbian, and I know a lot of Serbians are also the same way. That's just how we are. So if I did have the choice, it would be a very, very difficult decision. Obviously, I was born here. I was raised here. Yeah. But I still feel like I'm connected to Serbia, like that's where my parents are born. And so it would be a very, very difficult decision for me. But at the same time, I'd never had a Serbian passport, so it wouldn't be an option. It would be a process. It would be a process, exactly. Yeah. So, good question. I mean, that'd be...
Okay, well, we need to get you some goals to make you make a choice down the road.
Absolutely.
All right, let's move past youth soccer then. So you were speaking about getting recruited by colleges and stuff. You ended up committing to St. Louis. How did that recruiting process go, and how did you end up landing on going to St. Louis to start your college career?
Same. I mean... kind of same thing with these national team experiences. I was also very lucky to have a good amount of offers from decent schools, I would say. It came down to St. Louis, Georgetown, and Indiana. Kind of those three were my last three. And St. Louis, Kevin Kalish is the coach. The time he put into recruiting me, I felt that for me was the right choice. I felt to develop as a player, as a person, that's where I needed to go. And so I committed there. Obviously, things didn't go as planned there. Obviously, I transferred out later, and I committed to Georgetown.
Yeah. I was about to say, spoiler alert, we end up at Georgetown later. So
exactly. But my time at St. Louis, and I tell Kevin this, Coach Kalish, when I go back, like I'm really grateful for that time because, yes, I wasn't playing as much as I liked, but it still taught me how to be a proper professional. You still have to be ready. You still, you learn things. Like, you're not playing, there's a reason for that. Like, now, what do I need to do to improve to now show that I can play? So those 2 years were very big. It was a big learning curve for me because later on in my career as well, there were times where I wasn't playing, and I fall back on those moments. And, I learned a lot in those moments where now I've experienced it, and now I know how to deal with it better. I know how I still need to train, and when I do get my chance to properly perform. So those 2 years were, I think, very beneficial for me at St. Louis. And then, like I mentioned, I ended up transferring to Georgetown, which was an awesome time. I only was there for a semester, but it was amazing.
I mean, the Georgetown's a real breakout for you. We'll get there in a sec. To provide some context to kind of what you're referencing there. 2019, you did play in all 17 games, but only 9 starts. You had 1 assist, but probably not the production you were looking for. And then 2020, We're going to talk about the pandemic a little bit. The pandemic hits, you have to wait all the way until spring 2021 to actually play.
Yeah.
And again, played in all 12 matches, but only 3 starts. You got a goal and an assist. So not the most successful run. Talk to me about navigating the pandemic during that time. Going into your second year, I'm sure you're coming off freshman year where you didn't play as much as you wanted, but you're thinking, okay, sophomore year, like now we hit the ground running.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, I guess you went back home to Chicago? Or?
Yeah, I actually don't remember. Maybe October, November or something started coming up where like trainings were done. We weren't going to classes. Everything was like they were still figuring out, are we going to do Zoom or what are we going to do? So it was just kind of a weird like waiting period. And then we ended up going home we went home for winter break and then we stayed home that spring. And then I think we ended up coming back. We started training with the masks on, which is what I remember. That was the worst. Like guys would be
horrible.
Yeah, it's just sweat. And guys would be training with it down here. Like at this point, why are we wearing them? So it was a really interesting time. I'm sure every school experienced this. Every professional team experienced this. So that was really, really interesting. Never experienced that in my life. Like that.
I was in the same. I mean, I lost my senior season to it,
and
then I graduated in December, so I didn't play that spring season.
In high school or
college? Yeah, I was playing D2 at the time, so I was like also navigating it along the.
Especially your final year.
Yeah, so I completely lost my senior. I only got to play 3 years because I was graduating in 3.5, and so then I decided not to go back to play the spring season. But I mean, it was like a lot of people had to make difficult decisions about what they were doing at that time, and it made things really, really hard. So then obviously you get back, you go through all the mask wearing, you play that spring season, and then you decide, okay, it's time for a different opportunity.
Yes.
So what was the conversations like with Georgetown? What was the conversations like leaving St. Louis? How did that process go?
Yeah, I mean, I think I sat down with Kalish, and I think we both agreed probably the best option for me was to find something else, because going into my junior year, I probably wasn't going to play as much, especially with the guys they had. So that was mutual. I don't think there was any,
like bad blood or anything.
Exactly. Yeah. But then the recruiting process kind of started all over. I was in the transfer portal. Schools could reach out to me. And when Georgetown reached out to me, it was kind of like a full 360 because they were recruiting me early before I committed to St. Louis. It ended up being between the 2 Chicago schools and Georgetown because at that point I was like, I'm close to home. I'm going to play at DePaul or Loyola for sure. But then I thought about what's best for my career. And not saying, these Loyola or DePaul, they're still very good programs. I still would have, could have helped me get to these professional levels still. But I think, Georgetown just came off winning a national championship. If I can go there, if I can prove myself, then I think that for me was the best option. So I ended up committing to Georgetown. Brian Weiss is awesome. The whole staff there is awesome. They made the process very easy for me. Went there, had a really, really good year. The people there were incredible. Probably the most fun I've had, since my youth playing soccer.
Yeah. What a year that was. Yeah. I mean, for you individually, you started all 22 games, 9 goals, 2 assists. Yeah. Huge breakout for you, obviously. Yeah. But I mean, that was an incredible year. You guys were couldn't lose games. You made it all the way to the College Cup, fell in the semifinals in a heartbreaker to Washington. But what a ride. Yeah. Trying to, obviously Georgetown won the national title in 2019. Could have had a national title as a freshman had you made a different decision.
Absolutely. But hindsight 2020, like I said, I'm still grateful for the experience.
And maybe it wouldn't have worked out like it had you not gone to St. Louis those first 2 years. You can't play that what-if game. But talk me through that year. I mean, I'm looking here through some of the things that happened. You scored the OT game winner over Providence in the Big East tourney final. Do you remember that goal?
I do. That was probably one of my favorite goals I've scored. Just because it was a final. You win it in overtime. It was golden goal at that time. So, and you're playing at home. That feeling was incredible. It was a nice goal too. The guy that played me, Dante, he's playing at Aberdeen now. Unreal player, but great ball, and it was a very nice goal. But just in general that year, just coming in, you're nervous, but you're also excited. Kind of, it's a fresh start. I started off very slow, I think, just in trainings, and preseason games were a bit slow. But once the season started, it just once I scored one, then kind of everything just opened up. And the way we played at Georgetown was very similar to kind of how I've seen, the team here play, which is for me, it's very exciting because I think I can thrive in that system. But yeah, again, just, the guys around me at Georgetown, they were the big reason why I was scoring goals. A lot of my goals were one touch because of all these guys that are providing for me. Yeah. I probably could have had a lot more if I was more clinical. But yeah, just the school, the area, the people there, the staff, everything was amazing.
Yeah. I mean, some great teammates that turned pro from this class as well. I mean, by my count, Chris Hagar, who I was with at Charlotte FC, we spoke about. He's at Orange County now. Will Sands is with the Revs in MLS. Sean Zawatsky is a big role for one of the best teams in MLS in Columbus Crew right now. You mentioned Dante is at Aberdeen. Am I missing anyone else?
Aiden Rocha is at Switchbacks as well.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He was with Loudon for a bit, and then he's at Switchbacks. Kieran Sargent, he's a younger boy. He's with Lexington now.
Okay.
Daniel Wu as well. He's center back with Lexington as well. Yep. So probably missing a few other guys.
I remember watching Daniel Wu starting as a freshman at center back, because that 2019 when they won, I was there because I'm from Charlotte and it's in Cary, so we drove up and I watched that whole Final Four that 2019 year. I remember Daniel Wu being like the starting freshman. He's from that area.
Right? Crazy.
Yeah,
he's a really good player. But he's at Lexington now, and maybe I'm missing a few other guys, but.
I mean, it sounds like the starting 11 are all pro now. I mean, what a roster at that time.
Really, really good.
Do you remember that Washington game?
I do actually.
Because they score back-to-back goals, 54th minute, 57th minute. You guys claw one back in the 80th, but then couldn't find the equalizer.
Yeah, the first goal was an own goal, which was really unfortunate. The second goal was a really nice goal, right-footed. I think it was the guy's weak foot, top of the box, upper 90. But yeah, I mean, that game was, I didn't think we played bad. Like, we had chances as well, and we scored in the 80th, like you said. It was a late game as well. The game before us took a while, went to penalties, so we were just sitting around waiting. And not to make excuses, we ended the game very, very late. Like, I threw up after the game. I don't know if I had enough in me because the food stuff was a bit difficult. We didn't really have much to eat before because we waited so long. But yeah, I mean, just for me personally, getting to experience that college cup was awesome. Obviously, everybody wants to win it.
Yeah.
And that was our goal, but it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, that's Sean Smart's Clemson that ends up winning that final. So maybe if you're in that final,
that's true.
Sean had his championship T-shirt at Rivals the other day. Maybe he doesn't have that if you guys beat Washington.
True. That's very true. Maybe I'm wearing my Georgetown one instead. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you get one over later on Sean. It's in your highlight video, but your first goal for Tulsa in 2024 is here at Cashman, and you basically just dunk on Sean on the back post. Have you guys talked about that?
No, we actually haven't talked about it. I do remember that goal. It was first game for me in the USL. Like 10 minutes in, or to start. It
was the second game. I think it was your first game. It was the second match day, I think. Yeah,
because we had a bye week to start.
Oh, okay.
And then just our first game. Everybody obviously first game. Everybody's excited. Everybody's going 150%. But just to get off the mark in the USL was great. And it was a nice goal as well. Good ball in, and I was at the right place. And
I mean, in my experience, Sean is one of the bigger trash talkers in the locker room.
Yeah, for sure.
So you just need to stick that one in your back pocket.
I might,
just to have for later.
I'll definitely save it.
Save that highlight. Just text it to the group message at some point. Always a good one to have.
Yeah, I'll definitely save it.
Okay, post Georgetown. We're out of order now, but post Georgetown, you finished that junior year. You fall short in the College Cup. You decide to turn pro.
Yeah.
And you go to Philadelphia Union. Was there any thought about sticking around for your senior year? Was that a hard choice?
Yeah, it was such a hard choice for me. I really was. It took me such a long time to decide because, especially at Georgetown, they're very big on finishing your degree there, which I completely understand. And that for me was the biggest thing. Like I did want to stay. Like I knew another year wouldn't hurt me at all. It would only make things better. And I look back. I don't regret what I did. Obviously, things could have played out differently still. But at the end of the day, I decided for me, my career, I thought at that moment that this is what's going to be best for me. And I decided to sign with Philly. And schooling was a big part. So I told Philly, look, if there's a way where I can finish my schooling somewhere and you guys are able to pay for it, then yes, I'll definitely, it'll be, I'll consider it highly. And they ended up saying, yes, we'll get you in, like, we'll pay for your schooling. We want Penn for you. which was great. So I ended up getting into UPenn. I finished my schooling online while I was playing at Philly too. So that was the big thing for me, just getting school done.
What was your degree in?
It was in data analytics.
Okay.
So
So if you weren't playing soccer, what would you be doing?
That's a good question. I'm not sure yet. Yeah. I do have this internship now with this company that deals with soccer and data with referees and stuff. But so that's been great.
Interesting.
But yeah, I'm not really sure what I would.
You've got plenty of playing years left.
I hope so. Yeah.
So you decided to go with Philly. You're exclusively with the MLS Next Pro team in year one there. 16 appearances, 1 goal, 2 assists. This is 2022. How was that first year? Was there like a big jump in level? Were you thinking about any first team opportunities? I don't know. What sticks out to that year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it was also it was one of those where I got off to a pretty slow start. I didn't score. And it was kind of one of those where, okay, you're not scoring, you're not going to be starting. And that's kind of where I fall back to my time at St. Louis. I think if the time at Philly, obviously I wasn't playing as much as I wanted. If that was my first time that had happened, I think mentally I would have been out of it. But I had experienced it before, and I kind of knew, I still had to train properly. I still couldn't get down or feel sorry for myself. So I kept going. I had a little bit of an injury for a couple months, and my first game back I scored, which was a nice goal. Really, for me, just a great feeling. And then, at the end, same thing towards the end of the year, like more on and off, playing, not playing, coming in as a sub. So that season ended, and it wasn't how I wanted it to go. But then had the winter break, came back, went to preseason with the first team. That was a really great experience. Thought I did really well. And then that second year was kind of where things went off. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. You got drafted ahead of 2023 because America.
Yeah. Exactly.
Because I think at the time, now you can enter the MLS draft as an underclassman.
Yeah.
Which maybe would have been something you would have done coming out of Georgetown. You would have entered the draft instead of signing as a free agent. But then the rules changed, and then they had to draft you to keep your rights. And
exactly.
It's super weird.
I also still don't fully understand how that works. But like you said, it's just American sports. Yeah.
American sports sometimes. So you get drafted, so then you're kind of technically on that. What was that? Dive into that first team preseason a little bit. Was there a big jump in level there where you went like, oh, like this is where I need to be? And you said you felt like you did well.
No, I thought I did well, but you can see just the environment, the speed at which they play, the physicality, like there's more accountability as well. You make a mistake, they just don't brush it off. It's like, don't do it again, pretty much.
That's the year coming off the LAFC Philly MLS Cup
exactly,
final, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, I mean, like, the standards are up there.
They're
even
very,
just
very
by MLS standards at that time, they're nearly won MLS Cup there before
exactly. And they had a lot of guys that were playing the final return. So it was the same group of guys, and they were as motivated to win it again, not to get to that point and win it this time.
Yeah.
So, you can definitely tell just the way they were playing, the speed of play, like the quality and everything they were doing, every touch, every pass, every shot was where it's supposed to go. There was no like silly mistakes. Once you're in that environment, you get used to that more and more. And then, you get the hang of it as well. And now you're performing kind of close to that level. And so that was a really cool experience. The guys there were great. Jim Curtin was the coach at that time. He was awesome. That for me, I look back, and that was a really good step for me.
Yeah, and maybe a confidence booster as well. Having had a difficult season, maybe have I made the right decision to turn pro? And then you walk into a first team preseason and go, no, I can play at this level.
Exactly,
like, I can be here. And then you go into an MLS Next Pro season in 23, where you're a bang on starter, 29 appearances, 10 goals. You're a double digit goal scorer for the first time because you only scored 9 at Georgetown. So that's got to feel good. Were you continuing to see any like first team availability throughout that year, or was it mostly MLS Next Pro?
Yeah, it was
focused?
mostly Next Pro. Yeah. Few trainings with the first team, which was, obviously you always want to be with the first team, but the decision was made kind of you'll be more with the Next Pro. And for me, I was doing well. I was playing different positions, playing as a midfielder, as a striker, and I was still performing well, I thought. So that was kind of good for me, a good confidence booster. Mostly with Next
Sometimes
Pro.
That's good though, because sometimes you can get, when you're part of a reserve team, you can get kind of stuck in between where you're like training with the first team all the time but not getting into those games, which then means you're not training with the next pro team enough to be starting those games consistently. And there are guys that can get kind of stuck in no man's land, and then you kind of lose a year of development in terms of like game experience.
100%.
Obviously, the first team trainings are valuable, but you still need games.
Yeah, you
like
still
as a
want to
striker,
play.
you still want to be scoring goals.
Of course.
So,
of course.
What do you feel? Do you think anything changed in your game that year to be finding the back of the net so much, or was it just incremental improvement over time?
I mean, I think it was improvement, but I also think at that point in my career, I was like, this is my last year guaranteed. Like, what do I have to lose? Like, if I go out there, play free and score goals, it'll go well. If not, that's it. Like, there was kind of just like a mindset shift where it was like, screw it. Like, this is it. This is all I've got. And that's kind of how I train every day and how I played. And, I wouldn't say, like, looking back, I was never like that. I still think I always trained properly, and in the games I always did my best. But I think I'm a player that sometimes overthinks a bit, and that year I was like, screw it, like,
just took the pressure off yourself.
Whatever I do, I live with it. I try things, shoot from anywhere, kind of. If it goes in, it goes in. And that's kind of the mentality I played with, and that's kind of now what I want to get back into as well, because I know what it takes, and now it's just, can I embrace that now and do it here?
Yeah. So then you get to the end of that Philly, and then you're on option years. Those super draft deals are tough, by the way, because it's like one guaranteed, and then it's just option. They can just kind of keep you in limbo year by year. They're tough. So obviously they decline your option. So now you're looking for new opportunities alongside your agent. You end up at FC Tulsa ahead of the 2024 season. Why Tulsa? Why did that become the right stop for you?
Yeah, my agent and I, we were looking for a while. It was like 2.5 months, and we were talking to a few teams, a couple next pro teams, Canadian Premier League as well. And we were just kind of trying to decide. And then kind of out of nowhere, Tulsa came into the equation. And at first, they wanted me on a trial. And we were saying, we don't want to come for a trial. We want something guaranteed. So they ended up offering, and for me, USL Championship was a league that looked really, really interesting from looking from the outside, because I watched games, and I didn't have any MLS options first team. So we thought USL would be the next step. We decided to go with Tulsa. And that's how I came about.
I think you see that a lot to kind of dive into that environment. I think is. You're always going to have an MLS Next Pro opportunity, but is it actually an opportunity?
Right.
Or are you just kind of filling the numbers for a reserve team, and you're not actually going to... It's tempting because you feel like you're going to have that window to the first team, but it's you and your agent's job to evaluate, like, is this actually a good opportunity? Or is this an organization that actually gives opportunities to its Next Pro players? Whereas you can go to a USL Championship team, and you're not playing with academy kids, like playing with grown men and like earning
and that's
a
the
living.
biggest difference. Like, you're playing against these grown, experienced men who are 28, 29, 30 years old, some who have played overseas in South America, Europe, some of them. And that's the biggest difference I noticed. It's not like the quality of play, it's more the physicality, that sort of thing.
Maybe like the tactical bits, the off the ball stuff, the gamesmanship, all of that that might be lacking in a younger, more inexperienced league like Next Pro versus a league that has a lot of veterans in it, like the Championship.
And here it's about winning, whereas Next Pro, I realized a lot of it was more so, it's okay if we lose as long as we got better, kind of. That was the mentality, which is okay. There's a lot of younger academy kids that have a lot of potential, so I completely understand. Obviously, you still want to win, but it was more so there wasn't as much, they didn't feel like the feeling you get now when you lose, like in USL, it's just like you don't want to lose. You don't want to lose wherever you go. But I think the mentality more so in Next Pro is, like, did we get better? Are we playing our style of football?
And do we have guys on the path to Because ultimately that's what they're judged on. No one really cares, the MLS Next Pro head coach, whether he won the final or not. They care whether he delivers 2 players to the first team next year that are able to take the step up. And maybe you're making lineup decisions like, okay, we're going to play this academy kid. He might not quite deserve to be in the starting lineup yet, but we need him to be in the starting lineup at some point. And so then you're making lineup decisions based on development versus winning the one game in front of you, which is a tricky balance. Okay, so let's talk about Tulsa a little bit in 2024. I mean, you put in some minutes in 2024. You had 37 appearances across all comps. You got 5 goals and 2 assists, so I'd say decent. I mean, that's a lot of minutes, though.
Yeah.
First full pro season playing in a physical league. How did your body hold up? What was the experience like of the season?
Yeah, I mean, it was a long season for sure. I did play a lot, obviously playing different positions as well, which honestly was a bit frustrating for me. But at the same time, I was playing, so you just want to be playing regardless of where you're playing, and you give it, 100% wherever you are. But yeah, I was also very lucky I didn't get injured that year, which playing the amount of minutes, that's a lot, things could have happened, but thankfully, thank God they didn't. And obviously, we struggled a little bit. We had some good wins, but then we also had some pretty bad losses, and we just couldn't stay consistent. And at the end of the day, we didn't make the playoffs, which, again, in the USL, you have to make playoffs. There's 16 teams that make playoffs. So that was a bit of a bummer. But, we had a good group of guys. It was a lot of quality as well. Mm-hmm. We just couldn't find, what we needed. Those last we didn't play full 90s, I think. That's kind of what it was. Like, we'd play a good first half and then a poor second half, or bad first half, good second half. And a lot of games we were chasing, and we just couldn't find, find the right ingredient, I guess you could say.
Yeah. Looking at kind of that season as a whole as well, I've completely lost my train of thought. I had a question ready for you, and I've just completely lost it. What was, from those 5 goals that you scored, did you have one that was a favorite? I mean, we mentioned the one where you dunked on Smart on the back post.
Here, but I would say that one here because, first game ever in the USL, new team, like first goal that season for Tulsa. That for me was very memorable, obviously in Vegas. Mm-hmm. My family was here. The cousins that live here, they came to watch, so that was awesome for them to see, for me to score in front of them as well. And that would probably be one of the more memorable goals from last year. Okay,
I found my question from earlier. It took a minute, but you mentioned being a bit frustrated about playing across multiple positions, and you've mentioned that at a couple different stops now. Philadelphia, you were playing across a couple different positions. Other stops you were as well. Where would you describe yourself as your primary position, or where you prefer to play?
Yeah, I think I'm a striker. I think I know how to score goals. I want to score goals. And I think it's still good to be versatile. Like that has helped me in my career. There's been times where other guys have been playing striker, but then the coach has moved me to a midfielder position. And I think that goes to show I'm able to play those positions. But when I look at it, I think for my career, I think the best thing for me is to play striker. That's where I think I can excel the best, and where I have excelled in my career so far the best.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think a good fit here. There's a lot of creative attacking midfield players that fill up those roles underneath, and then in that competition with yourself, Johnny Knight, to play as a single forward, to play as 2 forwards up top. There's a lot of opportunity there, I think.
Absolutely.
Likely fits your play style really, really well.
Yeah, so, I agree.
So looking at that, what are your goals for this season as you kind of settle in here in Vegas? What's success for you?
For me, double digits in goals is always a successful season. I want to make playoffs. Obviously, the main goal is to win the USL Championship. That should be everybody's goal. But first, we have to make playoffs. We have to win games now. My biggest goal personally is to get in double digits goals. And then I think if I can do that, the team will. If a couple guys can do that as well, then obviously the results will show.
Absolutely. And then for your career, have you given thought to that? Having kind of settled into this is your second club in the USL Championship. You've gone through the college system. You've been in the MLS Next Pro system. You've been in an MLS team's preseason. What's success in your career for you?
My goal ever since I joined the Union was to play at an MLS game. And that's still my goal. I still think I can do it. I still think, I'm 24. All it takes is a couple good seasons, double-digit goals, and teams start looking. So that's my top goal. And obviously everything else is things that will help me get there. So, that's what's been my goal ever since I joined the Union.
Amazing. So I always ask this to wrap up, because we spend almost an hour on these pods talking through your journey and how you got here and going in depth on every single stop. Having talked through that and maybe dredged up some memories that you haven't thought about in a long time, is there anything you look back on your journey to here that you go, wow, that was really pivotal for me? That was that experience really shaped me into the man or the player that I am today.
Yeah, I mean, like I mentioned, my time at St. Louis was a big pivotal moment for me. I don't know, I view life as like everything kind of happens for a reason. And I think all these little moments in life lead up to where we are now. I think, my girlfriend also is a big part of my life, and she's had to deal with me moving around. We've done long distance for a while now. But those 2 years again at St. Louis where we were together, those kind of built the foundation for our relationship. And then now when I go to DC and she stays in St. Louis, the relationship still remains strong because we had those 2 years. So yeah, she's been a big part of my career, as well as my parents. They've tried to come out to as many games as they can. My dad is always on the phone with me, giving me tips. I honestly think he could be a good coach. I think he knows a lot about soccer. He never played, but like he completely understands it. So I speak with him a lot. My mom is also the same, and same with my brother. Just he's kind of someone I can speak to about anything. I don't speak to him about soccer. It's more just life in general. So they've been big in my life, and I know this probably isn't answering your question, but
no,
yeah,
it's answering my question more than I gambled on when I asked it for you.
Yeah,
so
good.
That's amazing. Steph, thanks for coming on the pod. It's been fascinating to learn about your journey here. I think I can speak for myself and everyone here in Vegas that we're excited to have you, and excited to see you bang some goals in at Cashman Field. So
last thing I'll say, just on Saturday, just seeing all the fans and everybody just trying to speak with me, and I'm sorry if I didn't get to everybody, but that was a great reception. So I appreciate everybody, and I hope more and more people will keep coming out, and the people that were there will come out again. You guys were incredible. And I'm just looking forward to winning games, scoring more goals, and hopefully winning a USL championship at the end of the year.
Absolutely. So your next chance to see Steph in action here at Cashman will be back-to-back home games. June 28th is Saturday for Pride Night, and then July 4th on Friday night. Fireworks after the game, some great deals there, so you can check Steph out there. But the team's in action next away at Indy 11 in Indianapolis, Indiana. That game kicks off at 4 p.m. Pacific time. It's on CBS Sports Golazo Network, so tune in there. It's free on the Paramount Plus app. It's not going to be on Fox 5 or Triple SEN or ESPN Plus if you're looking for it there. Only CBS Sports Golazo Network. So they'll take them on, and then back here for back-to-back home games. Steph, thanks for coming on, and we'll see you next time.